So Apple is a company that seemingly everybody has an opinion on. But the question for this channel, should you buy the stock, or is Apple a bubble about to burst? And the answer, at least my take on it, is it's complicated. So my name is John Rettinger. I've been making videos on the tech side of things for now almost 13 years, the channel of over 1.5 million subscribers. And during that time, I've learned a lot about finances, and I've also made a lot of mistakes. And the purpose of this channel, MoneyRush, is to sort of teach you how to make your money work for you and to learn from my many mistakes along the way. And a disclaimer, I am not a financial advisor. Any decision you make on your own. In the special case of this video, I am a Apple shareholder, and I've been holding Apple stock for many years. So all of that out of the way, let's talk about some apples. So Apple is a compelling company for a lot of investors. You can take your operating system preference or inherent phone biases completely out and just look at it as a company. iPhones are everywhere. In fact, Apple just passed Samsung as the world's largest smartphone maker, which is a huge accomplishment. Apple Watches are everywhere, and Apple is gearing up to release more computers using their very own silicon chips. They have to be a buy, right? I mean, after all, Apple is one of the most owned stocks in the world for a reason. So it would make sense to consider owning Apple stock, especially with its pretty awesome dividends. But is that a good idea? So like Tesla, a topic we already talked about in a previous video, could Apple be the bubble ready to burst? So with investing, my rule at least is never ever be greedy. Apple had pretty outstanding past couple of years performance-wise. In fact, they were up more than 80% in 2019, and then again in 2020. I think it would be pretty unfair to be extra disappointed in their performance, especially the loss of about 10% so far this year in 2021. Apple has, almost more than any other company, a really long established history of reinventing themselves. They've been an American success story several times over. First, it ignited the whole personal computer revolution way back in the 70s with the Apple II, and then it reinvented the kind of PC again in the 80s with the Macintosh. Co-founder Steve Jobs returned to Apple in 1997 and oversaw just an incredible winning streak of innovations that included things that are such part of our society right now, like the iMac, the iPod, pour one out for iTunes, iPhone, iPad, and obviously like the App Store. But the biggest driver of Apple's modern success, it's the iPhone. You don't have to be a genius to know that. This sort of game-changing smartphone, which sparked just years of massive growth and created a very loyal fan base of customers willing to buy all of Apple's products and services. But iPhone sales have actually slowed as users sort of hold on to their handsets for longer periods between upgrades. And the company could be in the midst of a major upgrade cycle. Its very first 5G-enabled phones are out, right? They started selling the 5G iPhone 12 series back in October 23rd, if you're into exact dates. And they've come out in different sizes. You got the mini guy at 5.4, the regular at 6.1, and the Big Daddy at 6.7 inches with a very broad starting price from $699 to about $1,100. And sales reports have been generally positive for the more expensive models of the iPhone 12 series. But recently, Apple slashed production on the cheaper version, the smaller iPhone 12 mini, and Apple stock slid on that news. The iPhone 12 wasn't the only thing that debuted at that event. They also debuted their new smaller HomePod, which is now the only HomePod, the HomePod Mini. But investors were not that impressed at that event. Apple stock actually fell 2.7% the day the iPhone 12 debuted, kind of bringing us back to the old saying, buy the rumors, sell the news. It was Wall Street's worst reception to an iPhone launch ever. And the next potential catalyst for Apple stock is a rumored spring product launch. But products in the pipeline are supposed to be new iPad Pro, new AirPods, AirTags for tracking, and potentially a bunch more. So who knows what they're gonna do next, but with the iPhone business now maturing, I think investors, me included, are kind of wondering like what's the next big growth driver is going to be for Apple. That's gonna determine if they're a bubble or if they're gonna continue to grow. And lately, Apple's two sort of core businesses have given Apple's sales and profits a huge boost, services and wearables. So in the December quarter, Apple's services revenue rose 24% to just like a stupid number of 15.8 billion. Services including the App Store, Apple Care, iCloud, Apple Pay, Apple Music, Apple TV Plus, Apple Arcade, and the rest of the Apple things. However, Apple is facing antitrust scrutiny in the US and Europe for its App Store policies, including the 30% commission fee. Back on November 18th, Apple cut that commission fee to 15% for small developers, probably to appease regulators, but Apple stock trended down in the days after that news, so there could be clouds coming in. The EU plans to bring antitrust charges against Apple related to the App Store in the coming weeks, according to new reports. So again, threat of regulatory action is, quote, I guess a headline risk for Apple. So with bad news could bring some good news. Big things could be coming. There's been some recent speculation that Apple is going to sort of reinvent themselves again and make a self-driving electric car, a pretty big pivot. Those rumors picked up steam in January. Actually, when Hyundai did a very un-Apple thing and revealed early discussions with Apple about a car partnership. Apple got upset and those talks broke off. They've also held talks recently with other manufacturers like Nissan, again, allegedly. And that's been pretty outstanding news, but those rumors haven't lifted Apple stock like rumors in the past. It's actually fallen sharply since the company's fiscal first quarter earnings report on January 27th. Historically, rumors have been generally pretty good for Apple. It's driven the stock up, investors have been super happy, but those same rumors haven't driven the stock up, leading a lot of people to think that Apple is a bubble about to burst. And again, no expert, but as somebody who's been very invested in the tech world for a long time, I disagree. Apple has constantly reinvented themselves. They have a history of doing so. And maybe it's not the Apple car. Maybe it's a reinvention of the iPad, new features to the iPhone, or something coming with next year's iPhone. But Apple's product pipeline has been so reliable for the past now 20 years that I believe whatever is coming is going to sell. Their fan base is so rabid. Their software as service industry is growing. They're starting to put their own chips in computers. There's a lot of reasons, at least for me, for optimism. So if you step back, it looks like Apple had a down quarter or two, but this is a company that knows how to rebound. And like I said, I believe that they will. If you're looking for a stock to sort of get in and get out real quick, Apple is not going to be for you. But if you are looking to invest and are willing to ride it out for a year, 2 years, 3 years or more, which I think is always a good idea, especially for taxes, Apple is about as safe a bet as any on the market.